You're welcome back. Now, today we're doing a review of the just ended regional elections of the opposition National Democratic Congress. Now, some incumbent executives have been retained, while others have been shown the red card by delegates. One incumbent executive officer who was retained is Greater Accra Region's chairman, Joseph Adekoka. Today, he's our guest, or perhaps we're his guest because we're in his home, as we discuss what exactly led to his recent victory, and of course what the future holds for the NDC. Roland Walker engages him now. Roland, I see you've very comfortably changed location, and you're with Mr. Coker, I presume.
Yes, I am. And he looks on the side, visibly worn out from the elections over the weekend, which is understandable, Kwejo.
Indeed. Well, I have no doubt he's got quite a lot to share about what these results mean, not just for his region, but across the nation. So why don't we get into it?
Well, definitely. And so we'll start the conversation. But today, we're looking at many other issues relatedly beyond the elections in the Greater Accra region. That is the election of the executives, the chairmanship started midweek and then ended or climaxed on Saturday, and ultimately saw a change in about 8 of the chairmen to new chairmen from the last round of the elections across various regions of our country. But in the meantime, we've had various permutation analysis, not only on mainstream media, but also social media about what this purports for the NDC, what it also means going forward. Well, that's why we have Uncle Ade here. I usually call him Uncle Ade. I think many of us do. But Joseph Kwabena Adekoka is here with us. He's a man of many colors, though. But as a politician, he seemed to have weathered the storm. And good morning to you. It's your third time winning the position as chairman of NDC Greater Accra, isn't it?
Roland, good morning to yourself and to the teaming supporters of NDC, who I'm sure will be watching you this morning. First and foremost, I'm grateful to you and your outfit coming to interview me this morning under a very heavy, cold weather.
I know. Well, it's always a good thing knowing that one is victorious, because then it puts you in a certain positive mood to not only address the media, but also put your mindset in a proper structure so that you know what your message is and how you want to go forward with it. But as always, when you're putting together a campaign, it's always a tedious task. But what has been different from the other elections this time around that you've had?
You know, this time around, the delegates number was huge. It over 1,200 people, persons. Previously, it was about 300, so it's easy to manage. But with this one, you have to traverse the whole constituency. It's like a normal election, electioneering. So it's very tedious, and we did this over a period of 4 weeks, where you have to traverse the whole constituency first, and then meet the various caucuses in the party, the chairman, the secretaries, the organizers. And it's been a very hectic and expensive program. The elections in this country now, even the internal elections, are becoming very expensive. And it's about time the whole party sat down to look at the modalities as to how this contest or this annual ritual, I call it after every 4 years, is. Because if you're not careful, it will come to a period where you not find people to actively participate, and that will kill democracy. Our democracy is becoming too expensive in this country. So this is the difference between the previous one. The enthusiasm was there, and don't forget that this started from the branches level, the branches and then the constituency, the region. So along the chain, everybody's having a problem that everybody's complaining about how exhaustive and how expensive the program has become. So we need to look at it from that light. So that's the difference. When the numbers were small, you could sit in your house and do a campaign. But this time round, you need to go down and you need to meet the grassroots. So that's the difference that
Well, we'll talk about if it's so-called monocracy or how expensive the elections have become, if it's even for all the political parties. But let's come to doing the work. As you touch base with the various constituents, either from the grassroots, you call them the polling station, the branches, and then you get up to the constituency executives. What really had been the main message for all of you, really, knowing that you had just lost election 2016?
The first message is unity, because there are a lot of rancor, a lot of mistrust in the constituencies. Executives are having problems with themselves. Even now that the elections have taken place, there's still pockets of insecurity or instability, or you name it, within the constituencies, mistrust. Because we always fall into divisions, people have various sides supporting a certain group of people, and that creates rancor. So we need to, after that, we need to bring all these factions together. The word is factions. Different factions within the party. You go to a place that have about 4 factions. If you are not able to manage this to become one faction that is supporting the NDC, you have a problem. So going down, these are the problems. Apart from that, the need for us to restructure our branches, because branches are conterminous with a polling station. And elections are won at polling stations. So if your branch is weak, you've lost the polling station. So this is the message that going around, we assured our supporters, our grassroots, that this time round, nobody is going to sit at the party headquarters and give instructions. Rather come down to the branches with the constituency executives to the branches. At least I want to see that once a month, there's a general meeting with the constituencies and the branch executive, including the regional executives, for us to find out how well the branches are operating. Once you've been able to do all those things, half of the battle is won.
Well, now political parties, and even in our country, especially over the last decade, have become more like multinationals, in which the CEO is at the top now, doesn't know what's happening somewhere in West Africa, a country called Ghana, and so you're sitting somewhere in Accra, you don't know what's happening somewhere in the branch in Ashaiman or somewhere in Adan. So it becomes pretty difficult trying to do the monitoring, making sure that your ideas are carried on successfully the grounds. Now that you have won, it also means that there needs to be that dissemination of what the whole agenda should be. What do you think the lessons have been from the last 8 years when you have been, going forward the next 4 years that you think you can implement?
My first 4 years, the question you asked me was very relevant at that time. So we always had a serious interaction and contact with the branches. You know, I told you earlier on that if you sit in Accra and you think people down there are working and they come and give you a report and you believe it, then you are tickling yourself. So this time around, you should be involved. In the last 4 years, the thing that killed us most was that biometric registration that we undertook. It was a disaster. It was a huge disaster. Because anytime you are doing a registration to coincide with an election, there's always skewing. People who are in charge of that system, probably if there's a parliamentary candidate who wants to contest, right, will skew the registration in his favor and will alienate certain sections of the party. When you do that, you carry that to the election. And that was what happened in some of the constituencies that we lost. And that was a disaster. So the branches were also, and the exercise was not conducted by the branch executives. So they sat aloof, and it culminated in our defeat. This time round, we are now doing the right thing. We are now doing what we did in 2012. That ginger the party. You see, if the person is involved in the process, he then owns it, and then he decides there's going to be an active participant of the process. So this is what we have done so far in the reorganization. So when we're having the election, you could see the enthusiasm of everybody, from the branch level to the constituency to the regional level. And I believe that if we nurture this enthusiasm and carry it forward, 2020 will be a very good period for us to win back power.
Now, there are undercurrents. I don't know about you, whether you notice them. If there are, and if you notice them, what are some of them? And how do you think that can be realigned within the context of what the feelings are at the grassroots level, and what also at the national level, you, the executives, you may feel?
Well, then I've told the undercurrents is that we should do. You see, there's a level of mistrust, and some people feel that they've been shortchanged. Secondly, we are having an internal election, and we should be decorous. The insults that we hurl against each other must be a thing of the past. These things that are not augur well for good people to come forward. People who want to sit back and say, look, why should I go for people to insult me? Even though you have a thick skin, you feel it. So these are the kind of things that as a party, hierarchy, whoever emerges as the leader of the party in the coming weeks must put his foot down, and that is discipline. If you are going to war and your forces are not disciplined, they are in disarray, they are fighting among themselves, you cannot win. So those are the serious undercurrents. First and foremost, discipline. We must start cracking the whip. We must nip in discipline the bad. We must have respect for each other. And when we do all these things, Roland, I can assure you, the tenets and the belief and that people want to come on board will be huge for us to be able to prosecute the 2020 agenda.
Now, in Greater Accra, looking hindsight with the elections and the results from 2016, you seem to have lost some grounds, but having also some mixed results in certain areas, even in areas that you won. How do you hope to perhaps touch base with some of the places that traditionally you thought you were strong in Greater Accra?
Yeah, I told you earlier on, the problem was the way we prosecuted the biometric registration. It brought serious division. Now that we've gone back to basics and have engaged ourselves in, let's say, to a large extent, acceptable the grassroots elections, I hope everybody is on board. Once we've done that, what is important is that the executives in the constituencies, when it comes to the election of parliamentary candidates, should not take sides. They shouldn't. That was one of our problems the last election. When executives take sides and start supporting a particular group of people, the problem starts.
But Mr. Ade, that is happening. We've had Kofi Adams, a number of notable members who are national executives, really, going to elections even in October, saying that a Mahama candidate is the best way to go. I mean, not to take away what the main issues are in the first place.
Well, we'll come to talk about that, but let's remain at where we are now, about the constituencies. You see, at the national level, we can talk about it, but you must win the constituency before you can even win an election. And that's what the problem is. My experience over the years have taught me that anytime there's division in the selection of a parliamentary candidate, you've lost it. So all of us must endeavor to charter a course where we allow free and fair elections, and every branch executive member in good standing must be allowed to vote. You shouldn't restrict the voting to just a few or number of people. Everybody in the
So that's what you intend doing going forward?
Exactly. Everybody in the constituency who is a branch member, who has got a branch card, has been attending branch meetings, has paid his dues up to date, should be allowed to vote. You see, when you do that, because he's been attending branch meetings and all, he's already involved in party activities. He's not sitting somewhere and then someone come and call him to vote. When you must go to a branch meeting, you must pay your dues, you must be seen to be in the minutes of the branch executive branch meetings, you are listed in it. when you allow all these people to vote and a candidate emerge, which everybody buys on the candidate, we are home and dry. So those are the things that we must do, and these are the things that I have observed the last 8 years that I've been the regional chairman. And you talk about the national level, we should also, as much as possible, everybody has got a candidate, naturally. You all have one vote. But the pronouncements should be minimized, especially national officers, constituency officers, regional officers. We all have supporters. I cannot sit here and claim that I don't have a candidate. I have a candidate, but I must be circumspect about that. I can go and do my campaign, and I'll do my campaign for my candidate. But there's no need for us to go on the news waves, on the media spree, making statements that probably won. And I entreat all people at the top to remember that at the end of the day, we need to be working together.
Oh, true. And so when we have to then take a look at what the outcome has been for those who are the chairman heading the various executive positions at the regional level, for your position that you won, actually there's only one or two of you who have been retained. 8 have been new people who have been brought on board. What does that give you as an indication across the country?
In my region, the regional organizer won, the women organizer won, the communication officer won, the youth organizer won. So we're talking about 7 or so. The functional, the core executive, which we call the frontliners, we lost only the secretary. So most of them were retained. It was the deputies where we lost most of them. So as far as Greater Accra is concerned, the delegates believed in experience. You see, going to this election, we've got only 18 months. And if the attrition rate is high, you have especially at the chairmanship level, if the attrition is high, you have a problem.
Well, we have it.
No. In
the chairman, we have it.
No, in the chairman, no, some people did not contest. Central region did not contest. Bronga-Hafu region did not contest. Upper Northern region did not contest. So...
and that's an admission, is that not? Because if
they are going for national assignment. You know, people were pushing me to go and contest as a national chairman. And I said, no, I want to stay at where I am. Some of them are going to contest at the national level. So, my information is that the only regional chairman who lost is the Western region chairman. But the Volta regional chairman won, and the Eastern region chairman also lost. So you are right. Probably the attrition rate at that level will be about 50-50. Once there's a blend of old and new, we can accept that principle and move on.
Now let's talk about the way you do your politics. I mean, not only NDC, MPP too. NDC, MPP, and what even you preface your initial suppositions or discussion with. Too much money or moneycracy, so to speak, in even the internal politics. How did it play out in the party currently, for which you are even complaining today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem, you see. I want to see delegates being sincere, and that's the problem. You see, they have incurred a cost at their level when they were campaigning to become constituency executives. That's the mantra, that is the information going out. So they are indebted already before even assuming positions. So during this process, it becomes their cocoa season, that they also want to make sure that they pay their debts. And if you are not careful, you end up not having people with stature, with quality, if they don't have the financial muscle. And that's what I'm worried about. You know.
So, in effect, you are saying that if you don't have money, or if you're not well-to-do, it looks like in today's Ghana, for the top parties, you cannot hold a position.
I'll be blunt with you. It is going to be difficult if you are not resourceful. Let me use the word. It's not that you are. If you're not resourceful, You cannot prosecute an election. It's a fact, because the people down there have incurred debt and they are being chased around. So that takes away that about 20% of sincerity is lost. I know somebody, I don't want to label which branch or which party functionary, but in my interaction with that person, he says, Chairman, you know, I have to see everybody to make sure that I get everything I want before the election. I cannot talk to you alone without talking to you. And I said, no, as a politician, even though you want to do it, you should disguise it, because your sincerity gets lost along the line. People will not start believing you. When they see you, they look at you. You might have 10% people who are not behaving that way, but your behavior will put you in a very bad state. This is what we, as a party, we must sit down. I don't know how it's going to be resolved.
Well, you're a leader in the party, so if that is the case, then
we need to talk about it. When you talk about it, it becomes a fulcrum for discussion, and we at the highest level must start looking at it. Probably amend the constitution or do things that will not allow these things to persist.
So it means that even at the top level, the national executives, those who don't have money may not be in the fray at all, even to the flag bearer level.
Well, I just told you, you must be resourceful. I mean, if you're not resourceful, then forget it. Period.
So what did you give away then to be where you are? And would want to, which other sacrifices, so-called, were also made by some of your contenders?
I think these are strategic secrets that you can have. I'm just telling you, I'm giving you a broad spectrum of how elections are being waged now. As to what went in or went out, that one is, it should be a trade secret. You know, every trade company has got its own trade secrets. And you don't come and sit in public and talk about your trade secrets. But it was well prosecuted, and thank God. The delegates believe in our mission, our vision. That is paramount, and that they voted for me to continue. Don't forget, this is, you know, like when you go into a heavyweight boxing tournament. I'm a three-time undisputed champion, and I wish Muhammad Ali was alive. He'll be giving me a title belt by now.
Anyway, but if we have to take a look at what lies ahead for the party, it also means that the party has to be in sync with what happens at the national level. We seem to have a voting population that is comprised of very young people, working people, people who have needs of employment and other issues. Is the NDC, is the party acknowledging some of these indicators? And how do you think the party can work towards it?
Yeah, you see, if you are going to draw up the party agenda, it is important that you engage all the segments of the party that we are talking about and have a policy that has got social implications. You see, in the last 4 years, NDC did a lot of things. This morning I was watching your early program, and you were showing some developments. I think the president has gone to China, and you were showing the interchanges. Yes.
In China?
Yeah. Oh, was that?
Those beautiful interchanges you are seeing were China. China interchanges.
I thought you were talking about Ghana interchanges. Maybe I was a bit...
well, we showed one, the ones that you... the JDM interchange. Yes.
We want to bring this to Ghana. It's good enough. It's fine. It's very interesting. But at the end of the day, we politicians will tell our people that we don't chop roads. We don't chop housing. You know, so when I saw that the president was in China, I asked myself, when we were doing this, they told us that we are not chopping roads. So what's that for? So it means that people want to have money in their pockets. So you should create the necessary environment, the jobs. And that is what NDC should do. The last 4 years, we concentrated so much on infrastructure. This time round, we must have human-centered policies, creating jobs, making sure that there's sustainable job. People should get up in the morning, go to work, feeling good. And they must have spending power. When people are happy with you, they'll vote for you. So our manifesto that we are going to draw up, all of us will be involved. And the youth especially, like you said, white majority in this country, their concerns must be addressed seriously. It should not be ad hoc, forming some cosmetic youth development programs. We should look for hard work, jobs, factories that will know and be sustainable for a very long time.
How many delegates voted in the election, so to speak?
In Greater Accra, about 1,200. Okay. And I think 108 people came to 1,008 people came to vote.
How does that reflect in terms of the election of top executives regionally? How does that reflect on how popular they are or how well they are known and work at the grassroots level of the party usually?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm an institution, and I keep saying it. Adekoka is an institution. Somebody in Wa will call me, even though he hasn't seen me before, but will call me. As I sit here, last night I had to shut my phone down because within hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, my phone was jamming, and people were calling from Wa, Tamale, all over the place. So it's important that you should be known by the grassroots. If the grassroots don't know you, don't vote for you. So I believe that the grassroots know me, the delegates know me, the constituent executives, because even during the campaign period, I visited most of them. I made myself available. I went as far as going to people's bedroom. I went to their bedrooms, visited them, regardless of your status. I went to their bedroom because they are all human beings. And any leader that fails to appreciate that everybody is a human being will not win an election. So it reflected my visitation, my chat with them, my closeness with them, enabled me to win the seat, the regional chairmanship seat. So it's important. Politics must be of grassroots nature. If you portray yourself as an elite, and only 5% of the elites will vote for you. The vote is down there. It's in the rural areas. It's in the seemingly middle class, seemingly lower class. The elites are just few. When you go to the house of an elite, you find himself, the wife, and maybe one child. When you go to a place like Nima, in the household, you find the wife, the children, the uncle, about 30, 40.
You did go to Ashama, that's my home.
I went to Ashama. I went to the United States of Ashama. I went to Washington. I went to Chicago.
Yeah, they have.
I think they are not supposed to be a violent group.
The Hawks, you mean?
Yes, they are not supposed.
Disrupting elections in the Ashanti region.
I'm told that General Mosquito was there presiding, and something happened within the hall, and so the doors were closed. The entrance to the place was closed, and I think whoever did that did not do well. There was no need for the doors to the hall be closed. And that probably irritated these people to smite the doors.
There was a disruption in your hall too, right?
No, there was no disruption. No. Our doors were open. I mean, delegates were, nothing happening. You see, this is one of my trademarks, my hallmarks. There's always stability and discipline, at least seemingly stability and seemingly discipline in the region. Because I'm not a violent person. If the leadership is violent, it permeates down the system. I would not have allowed, so in my entrance to the conference, I came alone. I never even brought any fanfare. I believe that those things does not add to your vote. So whatever happened in Kumasi, I think Yamin should not have come with that fanfare, right? When you do that, you excite the people. Sorry.
I know.
You excite them, and that's the problem. Once you excite them, a modicum of violence sets in. I think we should have a look at that. And these are the reforms that we need as a party to be bold enough to take it. Some of us, to borrow from our former First Lady, Nana Kuminedu, are going to be very bold this time round. Very, very bold.
Now, it means that after the regional elections, we have to look forward to the national elections. But it can also happen with the assistance and the good work of those who already have been elected from the branches to the regional level. And those who are interested in the various positions will have to coordinate with those of you already on the ground and those also
Ghana Police Watch, the factual and reliable weekly series that will bring you timely information on combating crime in Ghana.
Good morning, police emergency. How may I assist you?
These are the police officers who risk their lives daily in the line of duty.
The public, we need their support.
Don't miss the special reports and news updates from Ghana Police Service and stimulating discussions on policing in Ghana.
Ghana Police Watch. Good evening and welcome.
Ghana Police Watch, showing on this network. Log on to myjoyonline.com for local and international news, entertainment, politics, lifestyle, sport, and all the news that's news and more. Watch live TV or
level of being a part and parcel and not to break up the party, he might have a chance. But when he goes on the agenda of breaking up the party, some of us will take issues with him.
I've seen that prior to the regional elections, a lot of the individuals who were interested in the flag bearership had visited the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, the founder of your party, and then also tried to get closer to the founder. That's the way to go.
It's very important.
Have you also been doing that?
One thing that I want to do is to leave a legacy behind. The first thing is to ensure that the party is reconciled with the founder, because most of us joined the party because of his beliefs, because of the tenets of the revolution, right? You know, naturally, when you have so many children, something along the line will happen. I'm going to organize all the constituency executives, some of the branches.
And you're welcome back. The conversation continues with Joseph Adekoka, who is hosting us as we talk to him about the aftermath of the elections, the regional executive elections in the NDC that happened over the weekend. And obviously, the future is still up in the air Does this result of several regional chairmen being replaced indicate a desire for change in the NDC? That is to be determined. Mr. Adekoka obviously believes that those who have served in the past have something more to offer. Why don't we continue with Roland as the conversation unfolds further?